Would the owners of this sign please come forward and move it somewhere else? Huh? Will Barons.
Mike's over here, my bad. Okay, sorry. Okay. If we could all bow our heads for an invocation. Dear God, please bless this room and all the people in it. Give them the courage to speak with all of their ideas and passion that they have, and let's have a good and respectful debate here. Amen.
Amen.
If you could follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance and now I'll lead you in the national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Let's keep it respectful out there and have some awesome party conventions.
All right, let's get this party started. And there's none better to get that party started than our political coordinator, Mr. Art Zeckler.
Move it back? Okay, sorry. Boys stay at ease. Okay, are we ready? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, I'm going to go over. The rules. Each party is allotted 25 minutes. Each party is allotted 25 minutes. To present their platform, the candidates, and whatever else they want to share. With music, keynote speaker, etc. The 25 minutes will begin as soon as the first presenter makes a noise, utters a sound. The timekeeper will be in the back. They'll bring up a sign explaining the countdown of the 25 minutes. Be sure you're respectful and give the speaker your attention. We ready? I give you Bennett Blue.
Can everyone hear me? Yes. Before I start off with anything, I just want to say, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you to my Federalist parties that has voted me into office. Thank you to those that haven't voted for me, you know? We're keeping democracy alive here. Thank you to all the nationalists that have shown your endless support throughout these couple of days. We come to this camp not knowing more than 5 people. Would you all agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. And the amount of support and love and care that I have fostered over the past couple of days is wonderful. It's outstanding. So I want to say thank you. Now, for my Federalist Party, we have a special gift for the nationalists. Would everyone please take their paper and crumble it up for me just a little bit? Just a little bit. Let's show these gentlemen what a proper firework party looks like. 3, 2, 1. And now, without any further ado, may I introduce the Federalist candidate for the Commissioner of Agriculture, Mr. Toby Adebula.
Hello, my name is Toby Adebulu, and I am running for Commissioner of Agriculture in the state of West Virginia. To start off, I'd like to thank my party for putting me in this position. I wouldn't be here without you. Speaking of my party, we believe in a better environment, and in a world where clean energy is needed, because our world is kind of deteriorating. Companies and industries like coal, the power plants, the timber, it takes a heavy toll on our environment. But in a state like this, where we have rolling hills and high altitudes, and a lot of flat plains, we could really incorporate and utilize wind energy and solar energy by putting in wind turbines and solar panels all across the state. And not only will this clean up the environment, but it will also create jobs. So gradually over time, the environment will clean up, and the money lost from not exporting coal much anymore will be moved over to this new jobs created from these newer energies that we can use to power our, our state. And so that will help it, not only will help the environment, it will help the economy. And it's also to help the economy. The West Virginia Fresh Food Act is an example of another way to help the economy. It plans on keeping in-state produces and increasing the minimum percentage of producers in-state from 10% in 2025 to 25% in 2032. So this is good because it keeps us from having to import from other states. We keep our revenue in the state rather than spending our money elsewhere. Again, my name is Toby Adebulu, and I think I'm your best option for Commissioner of Agriculture in the state of West Virginia. And just a reminder, success is quite literally my middle name.
Thank you, Toby. Next up, may I introduce the Federalist candidate for treasurer, Mr. Krabs. We want Krabs! 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 We want Krabs!
Thank you. It truly is a pleasure being here today. Hello, Boys State, Federalists, and Nationalists alike. I am Nicholas Tustin, or as you may know, Mr. Krabs. Weirdly enough, some people don't understand the name Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs, being the owner of the successful Krusty Krab, has many great qualities that translate very well to the treasurer position, and I'd like to highlight some of those for you. Mr. Krabs is great with money, as he manages the best restaurant in Bikini Bottom. More importantly, Mr. Krabs also keeps the secret formula, an asset, safe and secure. As treasurer, I will invest our assets for the betterment of both the economy and the people of Boise State. These investments include, but are not limited to, development of more businesses like casinos, as well as recreational facilities like sports and lounge areas. In that, I'll say I've had a great time here so far, meeting all of you great people, and I would absolutely love to represent you as your treasurer. In fact, I want to do such a great job that all of you say, "Oh yeah, Mr. Krabs." Now, can I get an "Oh yeah, Mr. Krabs"? Oh yeah, Mr. Krabs! Thank you.
Next up, the Federalist candidate for auditor, Mr. Cole Lambert.
I was going to say real quick that you guys could have joined in that wave too. All right. Hello, Boise State. My name is Cole Lambert, and I'm the Federalist State Auditor. My main goal is to lower taxes that we all have to pay. This will give us more money to spend on the development and expansion of our West Virginian economy. I plan to do this by slightly raising sales tax in the short term, which in turn, in the long term, will benefit us more. And we'll also use the profit that is created by these new clean energy plants that we are putting in to also help pay when we lower the taxes. We will lower income, industry, and corporate taxation. And this will incentivize more companies to come into West Virginia, which will help expand our economy even more. And it will create a massive economic boom. it will be just insane what it can do for our economy when we bring in all these new companies. Now, what will we do with all the money we have after this stuff happens? We are going to push for better funded schools and state parks, just to name a few. Together, we can return West Virginia back to its former glory.
Thank you, Mr. Lambert. Next up, my party's contestant for Attorney General, Sean Utt.
Citizens of Mountaineer Boy State, it is my privilege and pleasure to give my address to you as a candidate for the position of Attorney General. My name is Sean Utt. I'm a resident of Fairmont and Marion County, attending East Fairmont High School. I'm 17 years old. I enjoy basketball, weightlifting, hunting, and drumming. In school this year, I completed A-Push and AP Language. I'm also a member of my school's social science honorary and Marion County Team for Internship Program. The position of Attorney General is one that not only I could complete the duties of to the fullest extent, but also one in which I wish to learn from. As I hope to become an attorney, I understand the legal system is fundamental in areas such as the neutralization of threats to the state of West Virginia, the welfare of the common family, the well-being of the children of West Virginia, and so much more. However, I also view the legal system as a dangerous weapon. What has the power to punish the guilty also has the power to oppress the innocent, and it is my job to make sure that will not happen at Boy State or in West Virginia. As Americans, it is our right to operate a legal system which everyone is treated equally and without bias or discrimination. I believe my beliefs, values, and qualities make me an excellent candidate for the position of Attorney General. I ask that you consider these aspects when you proceed to vote this evening. This position is one I will carry out to the best of my ability, as well as one by which I am uniquely qualified and intrigued to learn from. My platform is based on values and beliefs of every Boy State citizen, both Federalists and Nationalists. I want to hear specific ideas from anyone who wants to change the future generations of Boy State for the better. I will represent any idea, belief, or person who comes forward. I'd also like to end my speech by stating a claim that if you elect me, I think I can be a better attorney than Saul Goodman. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Next up, the candidate for Secretary of State, Grant Scholes. Grant is great! 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 Grant is great!
Go to Lieutenant Troy for me.
Good afternoon, Boy State. My name is Grant Scholes.
Can we just give a round of applause for that music selection right there?
My name is Grant Scholes, and of course I'm running for Secretary of State. One of the 4 planks of the Federalist Party is transparency. And I've always been a huge advocate for transparency. No matter who I talk to or work with, I always believe in being truthful and honest. Yesterday, for example, after my speech at the caucus, I went around talking to voters, admitting that I didn't do a very good job in my speech. I told them it wasn't amazing, I didn't execute it very well. And I'm not afraid to admit that. You know, I'm always the first to admit, when I mess up and when I'm wrong. I'm not gonna lie to you guys or myself. Secondly, as Chief Business Officer, I will take my 4 years experience from Future Business Leaders of America, where I've been Vice President twice and Treasurer once, and apply that to our economic policy to pursue development. And another thing that will help me pursue this development is the fact that I attend my town's monthly small business meeting. I talk to like-minded business leaders. Job creation is something that my town struggles with. Job creation and development, very, very big problems within my community. And one thing that my community's business leaders always ask me is what I think as the younger generation, what can we do to make our town great? And I will take the information that I learned as Secretary of State and tell them, because that's what it's about. We want to build our community and we want to make the greatest society ever. One more thing that I personally believe in is collaboration and teamwork. Who knows David Goggins? Yeah! Who knows David Goggins? We asked the question, who's going to carry the boats? Who's going to carry the boats? We're going to carry the boats. We're going to carry the boats together. We're going to work together. We're going to carry the boats. All right, I don't care if our governor or state officers are blue, red, or purple, which is the color that we will make when we get together. Blue and red make purple. Let's get together and let's make the greatest society ever.
We will now have our keynote speaker, Mr. Evans. If you will come up here and please explain to the nationalists what our platform really stands for, what our values are, what we believe in. Thank you.
All right, so my fellow fellowists, my fellow citizens, we are here at this party convention to celebrate the political process. In America, we have a right that is taken for granted, the right to choose who represents us. This is an important right that we will exercise later today. We are here at this camp to learn about good government, and that the Federalist Party embodies the openness and honesty we must demand of our elected officials. Our commitment to open government is founded in the preamble and the first foundation of the Federalist Party platform that is posted right outside these doors. To quote the platform, the government of the Mountaineer's Boy State will conduct all business in a manner that is open and transparent. Think about these words: open, transparent. We as citizens of Mountaineer Boy State and of the United States of America have a right to know what our elected officials are doing and what they stand for and what they believe in. We have already heard some candidates speak, and you'll hear more later before the day is out. As we speak, ask yourself some questions. Why is this candidate running? Do they serve or do they want the title? Are they dedicated to the citizens of this camp, or are they dedicated only to a select group of friends? A true leader is honest, dedicated, and passionate. Each Federalist candidate embodies all three of what I just said. Every one of them believe, like the party they represent, that the Federalist values are the people's values. Every one of the foundations that can be found in the Federalist platform can be seen in and is honored by its candidates. When a Federalist candidate wins, the citizens of this camp win. Each of us will vote for each candidate, not as part of a specific party, but as citizens of Boy State. With that, I ask each and every one of you to judge the candidates, not because of party affiliation, but because of their values and because of their beliefs. Over the past couple of days, I have worked with each of our Federalist candidates. I have talked to them, I have listened to their speeches, I have learned their motives. I am being completely sincere when I say that each and every one of them has the passion and dedication needed to serve as citizens of Mountaineer's Boy State. Josiah, ALMBS, Grant, Cole, Nick, Mr. Krabs, Toby, and Sean all are dedicated to serving the people in this room. From governor to the attorney general, they earned the nomination. They are both committed and ready to lead this 51st state. So I ask for all of you to support the Federalist candidates. They deserve your vote for their commitment, experience, values, and beliefs. Thank you.
Thank you, Evan. Wonderful speech, by the way. And may I present to the nationalists Last and not least, my candidate for governor of the 51st state, Josiah Corley.
Fans! Can you hear me? Alright. As you know, I am the Federalist candidate for governor. Federalists, you already know me. I already know you. Nationalists, by the end of this event, I can assure you, you will pick me as the best candidate for governor. So let's get into what I'm going for. The points that I'm going to be making right now are for education, for business, and a little bit of agriculture, or economics at least. Anyway, so let's get started. In terms of education, my policy is that I want fairer policies for recruiting teachers to ensure better prepared students for work and for, most importantly, life. So not only is it going to be college, it's also going to be, if you get a job right out the bat, it's also going to be, if you're going for an especially high degree, like, you know, president. We all like presidents, don't we? Joe Biden. I mean, I'm just speaking truth here, to be honest. Oh, God. I got like 4.5 minutes here. I gotta stop. Anyway, when it comes to it, as an example, pretend that you are the teacher. Now imagine this scenario. You're the teacher. You've been here for 15 years, right? 15 years of hard work, hard achievements, merits out the wazoo. And there's this other guy. This other guy that is not even a quarter as qualified as you, and that, the person that's interviewing you knows him as well. The interviewer, being in its righteous mind, takes the guy that he knows because he knows him and is his friend. That is crap. Yeah. So, with my policy for the educational system, I propose a mandatory review of past experiences via, reading your file for teachers, right? Yeah, the teachers, rest assured, with experience and merit, will be recommended first. They will get there a lot faster than the guys that haven't been there half as much. And it's going to be, happily noted, by not being their friend. If you are good at your position, you will get it first. You got me? Got it. Yeah. All right. This is going to ensure that America and West Virginia as a whole gets better people in better positions in order for them to have a better life, in order for us to grow our state. You firing on me? Yes, sir. All right, let's go to the next part. Business. For businesses, I want a safer and more efficient business practice. In order for that to sustain, I am going for hiring better workers and to ensure survivability if they're growing theirs directly in the state. So entrepreneurships, thank God your job is not hopeless here. So when it comes to the reasoning of why I'm doing this, there is no true visible entrepreneurship in West Virginia. When have y'all last seen a company or factory that was in West Virginia say they're from West Virginia and live to tell the tale? Never. That's my point. When it comes to that, for outside companies, we all can agree that McDonald's is not from West Virginia, is it? Little trivia, it's from Michigan, by the way. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, outside outside companies, they're great. I want them in our state. However, when it comes to that, I want West Virginia to be alongside them, especially they're grown from West Virginia, to be known nationwide. Along with that, I want them safe. I want them to be efficient. I want them to be known for being efficient around the nation. And best of all, I want them to be great. I want them to be awesome. So, in short, when it comes to education, I want better teachers. I want better workers. I want better people to be in better positions, because for this state and for this nation to be great, we need to ensure that we have greater people in greater positions. Because if we do not, we're still going to be exactly where we are and nothing will be fixed. So for that, all I can say is one thing. Vote for me. I will be your foundation. Vote for me. I will be your Olympics. Let's build Olympus together.
Proud of you guys. It takes a lot to get up there and do that.
Art.
Thank you.
I don't know how these are working, but one's red. That one's green.
Okay. You ready? Ready? Come on up. Ready? They're gonna start your clock as soon as you go. Okay? I give you your party advisor, Nationalist Party.
Thank you to everyone who helped in the demonstration. That was very nice. I am the Nationalist Party chairman. My name is Christian Arnold, and I have been lucky enough to speak with everyone in my party and a lot of people in the Federalist Party as well, and it's for that reason that I want to give someone else the opportunity to speak. Can Pratham Bhatnushali please come up to give an introduction and the overview of our party platform?
Hello everyone. The Nationalist Party of the 84th West Virginia Boys State is built around 4 chief pillars that are the foundation of our government, which is going to be by the working people and for the working people. These pillars are called the 4 E's. The first one, education. Education is a key component of any society, and it's a fundamental human right. We want to expand access to education across the state by allowing citizens of West Virginia to obtain free preschool, free community college education, and bringing more variety of opportunity in education to our state. The next one, environment. We want a sustainable future for our state. We can't just focus on the present. We have to focus on the future, on the next generation, and on what will happen to this state in the future. So we want to allow our economy to grow through adding new industries to West Virginia, and we want to maintain the state's natural beauty and we want to make sure that everything we do is good for the environment and good for the world. The next pillar is enfranchisement. Voting is the cornerstone of our democracy. Why are we here? To learn about democracy through participation. And in order to do that, you have to be able to vote. If you can't do that, the people's voice is compromised. So we want to improve elections by doing several things, such as allowing increased access to voting rights, through allowing incarcerated citizens, formerly incarcerated citizens to vote. We want to increase the efficiency of our voting system, and we want to potentially even lower the voting age. The next pillar is economics. The Nationalist Party is a party for the working man. We want to care for all of you, for your parents, for everyone in the state that's working hard to make a living. We as nationalists believe that a raise in the minimum wage is a good idea. This will help our state, this will help our workers, and this will help ensure their security and livelihoods. We also want to legalize and tax recreational marijuana, and we recognize that working conditions and benefits are of the utmost importance to the working class. We care for your rights. So to sum this all up, the Nationalist Party is the party for workers. The Nationalist Party is the party for justice seekers. This is the party for learners. The Nationalist Party is the party for those who want a voice. In short, the Nationalist Party is the party for you. So vote Nationalist when you go to the polls.
Without further ado, I'd like to get into our party's nominees for all of the different positions, starting with Auditor Justin J. Moss.
Hi guys. So to be a state auditor, I was really trying to do my research to see what makes a great state auditor, and I actually asked our own state auditor, Jane B. McCuskey, what he thinks, and he told me that the best thing to do for a state auditor is to be organized and make sure there's a great order to go within our own government here. So that's what I plan to do with every one of you guys. I want to take in your voices, make sure you're organized, make sure everyone gets heard, and make sure we have a good, nice order to our government and that everything goes according to plan. And if not, we can always fix it and get it back, and hopefully everything goes right. And we were talking about our planks. I want to push more on the education side for me, because I've been to a lot of our Board of Education meetings, and I've heard the voices of teachers, I've heard voices of janitors, I've heard multiple voices of the education system. So I think we're all here because of education. None of us would have been here without a good teacher in our life or learning. So we definitely need to push on that. We need to make sure they have livable wages. We need to make sure the schools, everyone's been to a school and it's been dirty. We don't have enough janitors. There's always stuff going wrong. So we need to make sure, we want to be happy to go to school. We want to walk in and hopefully we have pride in our school and it's not beat down or worn down. So I plan on hopefully increasing our schools, make sure we have more focus on them, and hopefully we can get more superintendents involved with the schools, because a lot of the time the councils, they don't really go to the schools, they don't recognize the problems, and then they can't get fixed. So we need to fix those problems and we need to educate ourselves. And also, for more education, I think there should be we should have free a 2-year community college for West Virginia in-state West Virginia citizens, so we can expand our college. We want to make sure everybody has an equal choice, so that 2 years, we get a free associate's degree will bring more jobs into our state, will bring more positions, and with they would work here, they could fill the businesses spots we need, and they can even learn, we can improvise, and we can make sure we are a better state. And before I leave, I want to say one thing. To make the men of tomorrow, we need to educate the boys of today. Thank you.
Next, the Nationalist Party's nominee for the Commissioner of Agriculture, Spencer Nolan.
Commissioner of Agriculture, and one of our core beliefs as a party is the environment, and more specifically sustainability. have multiple programs that I plan to put in place, or at least attempt to, that would really benefit our state's sustainability and help our environment as a whole. And we're also a working class party, so my biggest thing is I want to try to work with our small farmers, our really working class farmers, and try to encourage and help offer programs to help them switch to more sustainable farming techniques, things like no-till and food forests and vertical farming, things that will not only make them more sustainable and therefore better off in the future, but can also increase their profits and how much they grow. And with certain things like vertical farming, it will also decrease the amount of land they need to do so. And I feel like that's just really great. It will also reduce our carbon footprint. Another big thing, my adversary, or the other candidate running against me, was big on renewable energy. I think as a whole, coal is using us just for resources, and when it's gone, they're going to leave. We've already seen this happen. They're going to leave and not replace it with anything. Nothing, they don't put anything back. So I would love to help create a program for people that have lost coal jobs, to have free re-education to go into another energy job, like something like solar, like building solar panels or wind, or maybe even the possibility of nuclear, as it's still insanely clean for the amount of energy that it makes. Another big thing is lumber. I also want to try to instate a program of ethical and responsible logging, because right now, when they clear cut or when they selectively cut, they cut down, they just plant one kind of tree back, and it's not good for our wildlife, it's not good for our biodiversity and our state as a whole. So what I want to try to do is when we cut down, they can, obviously our logging companies still need to be profitable for them to operate in our state. So I want to try to make a system to where we plant 60 to 80% of profitable trees, things that sell are, things like eastern white pines and tulip poplars, things that they use already, and very profitable trees. But the other 40 to 20% be trees that are more specifically really crucial to our environmental success and helping our wildlife along with everything else. And also with that, be planting understory growth, because a forest is more than just trees. There's so much stuff under it that's just as important as the trees are. So I want to make sure that we have a more sustainable environment into the future so everyone can enjoy it. Most West Virginians enjoy the environment, even if they realize it or not, with hunting and fishing and even just walking out in it. So I want to make sure everyone can enjoy it as much as we can. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Christian.
Next, the Nationalist Party nominee for Treasurer, Wreck-It Ralph Yancey.
Thank you. Let me get this one a little bit. All right. So y'all, I would like to thank my nationalist comrades for voting me to be the contender for treasurer, and also thank you to the Federalists as well. Whoever, you know you love me, Jonathan. Anyways, as treasurer, my job is to make sure that your money gets taken care of and is diverted to the places that you, as the people, wanted to go. As we said, the Nationalist Party is a party for the blue-collar man, the worker. The Nationalist Party is for the people who go day to day, don't complain, and just do honest work. As nationalists, we believe that we should raise the minimum wage up to $12 per hour. This simple goal to help our state, as said before, can be achieved through legalizing and taxing recreational marijuana. Now, we also want to work to make sure that the conditions of these, of our schools, of all public buildings are kept up to check. Of course, we need money to do so. So with that, one way to do so to make sure that these buildings are kept in check is through slipping my mind. I have it right here. Sorry. Y'all think y'all funny. I really think y'all's funny. Thank you. I just remember the word advocate. State-owned enterprises. So state-owned enterprises are when the state owns a business and they go usually as business as usual, but it makes sure the businesses stay up to date on their conditions for the workers, and as well as make sure that their carbon emissions, their dumping, make sure nothing like that happens within the company. So with that, we can make sure that the marijuana stays clean, doesn't get laced with anything dangerous such as fentanyl or any other drug for that purpose. If you vote for me, we'll make sure that all these things I've said happen. Thank you.
Next up, Secretary of State candidate Eric Carr.
So y'all did just hear my name. My name is Eric Carr. I'm for Secretary of State, and I do apologize because I believe this is the first time I've been able to publicly speak to a lot of you guys out here. I haven't had quite the pleasure that I wanted to, being able to talk to all of you, but that beside the point. I believe I can do the best to try to represent the people. And sorry if my voice is gone. A lot of chanting. The heart of a good democracy is an election. That's where the voices of the people are heard. All right? And what do I need to do to be the best Secretary of State? I need to secure those voices. I need to make sure that they are inalienable. They cannot be taken from you guys. All right? Anyone here? The second most important pillar of my job is the business. Business is the expression of people. My goal is to create a good environment to help the economy flourish among this camp, among West Virginia, among everything. But most importantly, my job is to get the right people in the right places. Nationals. I talked to all you guys. Y'all are a good, hardworking bunch of people, and yeah, you can be loud, but I think y'all's hearts are in the right places. And y'all believe we got a good set of people sitting there, right? Yeah! Federalists. You guys, I'm not going to sit here and lambast you. Y'all are also hardworking people. Y'all are passionate. And I think y'all think that y'all got a bunch of hardworking people up here. Would you say so? Yeah! So if you want to see those people that you believe should be up here, I'm going to make sure that you are heard. Now, I gotta let some other people speak because we are running out of time, but look. So we already said that to make the men of tomorrow, we have to educate the boys of today. I would like to add, to make the men of tomorrow, we need to be the men of today! And that starts with all of us, Federalist or Nationalist alike.
next up, we've got the Attorney General nominee, Uncle Sam Struthers.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Uncle Sam Struthers, and I'm running for Attorney General. So, we live in a democracy, right? And we've heard everyone say this. Voting is important. I'm not going to mention anything specific. In recent elections, there have been a lot of words like voter fraud, and is this election real? Like, is this true? And I think that's a bunch of bullcrap. Yeah. So do you guys like not knowing if your election is true? No! Yeah. So, as Attorney General, and as the legal head, kind of the state, I will make sure that every election is fair and free, and make sure you have confidence in every elected official actually got elected. Besides voting, other things are important to me, like the economy. West Virginia right now, okay, people make fun of it. We call it hillbillies, rednecks, like, I don't like that. I think we're a proud, hardworking people and deserve a chance. So I think to get that chance, we need to have a big economy that's strong, that can support all West Virginians and everyone else who wants to come to West Virginia, because it's so great and beautiful. So, the economy. The way I plan on this is helping the smaller people. You gotta build a foundation from the bottom. You don't build a house from the top, you start from the bottom. So, So, I want to raise the minimum wage, keep taxes low, put the money in your hands, let you do what with your money. It's your money. Why should the government decide what they should do with it? As Attorney General, I will make sure all this goes through. I will fight for the working people, the little people. I think together we can build a great West Virginia and a greater America.
All right, last but not least, I think everyone here knows who it is. Our candidate for governor, Sam Dodson.
And I'd like to say good afternoon to you all. I'd also like to start by voicing my congratulations to everyone who ran for office yesterday. Win or loss, because that's a hard thing to do. It takes a lot of courage to put yourself in front of people like that. And I have a lot of respect for everybody who did that, so thank you all. As the nationalist candidate for Boise State Governor, I do stand upon the values and the platform of the Nationalist Party. All of our nominees for state offices are truly the best options for candidates, and my full support is behind all of them. Our plans for the state of West Virginia address important real-life issues, including the expansion of voting rights, increasing the education of our population, and investing into economic stability for the entire future of the state. That being said, Federalists, I'd like to make a proposal to all of you. So as you know, one of the important symbols that we've been learning about this week is the flag, and on top of the flag is the bald eagle, which is one of the more important symbols of the United States. And the bald eagle's right talon holds an olive branch, which symbolizes peace and friendship, and that's what I'd like to offer to you guys. You guys are no longer bound by your party affiliations or anything like that. If one of the candidates that spoke before me or myself is what speaks to you, you guys have the full right to vote for one of them, and I completely encourage you to do that. And what I want to build is unity here. So if you guys didn't know, or if you guys have noticed, all of the cheering recently has been for either one side or the other in the past 30, 40 minutes. The last time
that both of us stood up and cheered for one person was for our current governor, William Barron's.
Yeah!
I would like to point out that at his time in Boise State, Will was a nationalist. So, a governor. That's a person who must be able to be a leader and know the ins and outs of government. Fortunately, these are all things that I know about and care about deeply. And I've talked with many of you guys throughout camp, Federalists and Nationalists. I've become friends with many of you people here. And I hope that I've been able to convey the care that I have about this camp and about this role as governor as a whole. I hope that you guys have seen the signs I've made, or the people I've met, so I hope you guys have noticed that. I can't promise that I will take this job very seriously, but I'm also a full supporter of having as much fun as possible here. I've heard like so many good proposals, especially from a lot of the business people. Like I've even heard like hot dog stand, random things like that. And I think all of that sounds like a lot of fun, and I'm willing to make this one of the most fun weeks of our summer. So let's give it up for that. So in short, overall, I want to unite this camp as your governor. I want to bring glory to this camp, and I want to build up the heart and soul of the 51st state of the nation. Yeah! Thank you for your time today, and vote Sandy to be your 84th Boise State governor.
I would like to thank everyone here for showing your support and enthusiasm for this program. It really makes everyone who has to stand up here, it makes them feel like their job, it just makes it so much more fun. Really, I'm really glad that everyone here is having a good time. It makes it so much easier to get up here and talk. And I'd like to congratulate everyone from both parties that came up here and talked, because it can be nerve-wracking, and it takes a lot of perseverance to be willing to do that. I'm just about out of time, so that's all I have for you all. Thank you all.
Hold applause until the end of the candidates. There's no need to applause between speeches. Try to be as respectful as you would want to be if you were on stage. We will be running in this order. So if the candidates would like to come up and sit on either side, what we will do is we will have on stage, up next, and on deck. So we will have 3 at a time, and that is starting with Attorney General. So if I can have both Attorney General candidates come up and take the stage, please. The way the debate will work is the candidate receiving the question will have a 2-minute speech. The candidate responding to the speech will have a 3-minute speech. And then the candidate receiving the question will have a 30-minute rebuttal. So 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then 30 seconds.
30 minutes, I was about to say.
Timer is in the back. Give a wave to Ashley, who is giving our time signals. Once the time signal has been given the hand, speak no more. Stop. Stop. Candidates on deck will be Commissioner of Agriculture, or up next, excuse me. So both candidates for Commissioner of Agriculture are up next. And then on deck is Treasurer. So we'll have 2 candidates on each side. Again, be respectful. Listen. Feel free to respond, but in a respectful manner. Each candidate will use the same mic. They can return to their seat after their speech. The basis for today's questions, fully sourced from each party's platform. So everything in the party's platform was fair game for me to write the questions. Are we ready?
We're ready, yep.
Hydrating before the question.
It's empty.
So refresh my memory. Nationalists went first. No, Federalists went first. Okay. So in the debate, Federalists will go first with questions. Sean, you got to stand at the mic there. Your first question is, the Federalist Party platform advocates for greater transparency in government. How will you seek to make government open and honest for citizens?
Well, as I stated, hello, test. There we go. Take 2. So, as I stated, in my candidacy is based upon hearing specific ideas that maybe for improvements or changes to the Boys State program that all of you, both Federalist and Nationalist, have. I like to hear from all the people because a lot of the things that we want, they're not just going to give. We have to fight for. And I think that my interpretation of the law will give me the availability to, in court, plea for what you guys think, what you guys want in future generations. So I believe that that's part of the transparency, is having an open-ended two-way street relationship with the citizens and then carrying that over into court so we can take it against the leadership. Also, I believe the transparency is important in areas such as obviously voting, as he stated earlier off the record, and as many of my candidates and as the Nationalist candidates are. So I'll also make sure that voting is honest, it's kept honest, no bias, no fraud or anything like that going on. Education, obviously I want to make sure that equal pay, I want to make sure that all the candidates for education or any other position around here, that the best candidates are selected. Transparency means if you're selected honestly. And as Attorney General, I want to use my interpretation of the law to ensure that everyone who gets a position here is entitled to it. Everyone gets a fair shot, and the best people are the ones picked, not the people who are popular, not the people who have money, not the people who I want to make sure everyone who gets an office deserves an office. Thank you.
Your response?
I have 3 minutes, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Can I take this off?
Yes.
You mentioned transparency in your speech here. I was thinking, what type of transparency does it mean? You didn't really specify, but I digress. How would you plan on implementing this transparency? Do you plan on having open meetings, open like tax records? You didn't really specify how you would or specifically why. Our party, again, voting was a big thing, and transparency with voting is a big thing. So I think make sure
all ballots are counted. You need an ID to vote, so people who aren't there or dead can't vote. So that's how we implement transparency in our voting systems. Thank you. Back to Sean.
30-second rebuttal.
I'm short. All right. He's very right. I was pressed for time. I didn't want to run over, so I neglected some explanation. He's exactly right on that point. When it comes to the idea of having meetings, yeah, I very much support the idea of the state coming together, including the Attorney General and the Governor, to make sure that any transparency on the table can be discussed when it comes to voting, making sure registrations is good, making sure that dead people aren't voting, making sure that basically everything's on the table. Thank you.
And our next question is for the Nationalist candidate.
Thank you.
The Nationalist Party platform advocates for the legalization of marijuana for recreational purposes. Since marijuana is illegal at the federal level, how will your office handle federal prosecution of cannabis-related crimes?
Thank you. Okay. So yes, legalization of marijuana is a part of our platform. We believe that it can bring in money, jobs, and just improve lives of people in West Virginia. So at the federal level, marijuana is illegal, as are most illicit substances like that. So our plan would be to first decriminalize it at the state level. So that includes like anything in the state, we decriminalize it. But then federal level, it's still a criminalized thing. So we'd have to work with the FBI and the feds on a certain level to either come with a compromise on the situation or go on a case-by-case basis on how it goes. If it's fully legal in our state, then we can have an argument against the federal people that it is a legal substance in our state, and we can petition the government or possibly try to move to make it legal at a federal level. Thank you.
And a 3-minute rebuttal.
All right. So first, I would like to start off by asking what exactly is, well, rhetorical, I guess, what exactly is meant by the term decriminalization? Like, to what extent? Like, just anybody over the age of 18, or you didn't really specify when marijuana or cannabis would become legal, at what point? So to what extent would decriminalization take place? Also, you mentioned working with like an agency like the FBI. Why the FBI, who mainly covers national security and high-profile crimes such as like serial killings and such as that? Why work with an agency like that instead of like the Drug Enforcement Agency? My third question, I had it. I got time. My third question would be, to what extent would you push this? Like, what about like in the meantime, like while you're working on getting it, what about like many of the drug-related like busts or deaths in drug-related busts or shootings regarding drug deals? How would you plan to stop that in the meantime while you're in the process of decriminalizing marijuana? So those are some points I think that you probably thought of, but you failed to mention. So that's just what I'm curious about. Thank you.
And a 30-second response.
Yep.
So obviously I just misspoke. I wasn't thinking when I said FBI. It's obviously the DA. I don't know what I was thinking. But the main point is to help revitalize West Virginia with all this extra money coming in. So I'm running out of time. Well, at the age of 21, it would become legal for people like alcohol, as it is in other states that have legalized it. It has clearly shown great growth in other states that have legalized it. And the main point. Is that a duck call?
Thank you, gentlemen. So up to the stage next, Commissioner of Agriculture, and then on deck is Auditor. Candidates for Auditor.
2. Oh, goodness. Oh, I'm up first. Never mind.
Federalist question first. The Federalist Party platform advocates for the utilization of natural resources in the state. As Commissioner of Agriculture, how can you work to create greater opportunities for farms, citizens, and industry?
As I said in my speech, that first we got to clean up the environment before we can even focus on agricultural stuff. After we clean up the environment, the jobs that I said we create, like the clean energy jobs, like the turbines, the power, solar panels, maybe some hydro machines technology like our lakes and such, and rivers. Those jobs will be created for the people who were let down after the coal industries, gradually eased away. The small-time farmers, there is a Farm Fresh Dairy Act that's trying to get passed right now, where they can sell their dairy straight to consumers. So that also right there will create some more jobs for people. We could focus more on the vast farmland. As I said, we have to create more not vast plains, create more farmlands. We could if we could open up new state parks, that could also create some more jobs for people. Thank you.
And a 3-minute rebuttal.
I think he mentioned some very good points, but one of the things he did say was that we should focus on the environment before agriculture. And while I do think environment and cleaning our environment is very important and an issue that we do need to focus on, I think as the Commissioner of Agriculture, you have to find out how to balance these two issues simultaneously instead of putting farmers on the back burner for a while and then putting the environment on the back burner for a while. I think we have to do both of these at the same time. And another thing is we have to ensure that, as West Virginians, we are already forced to do more with less. With our mountainous terrain, it is very hard to raise certain crops and do certain things. So I think with some of my programs, such as trying to get people to switch to vertical farms and food forests, we can better do more with less. And that is something very important that we have to do. We have to do more with less to the best of our ability as West Virginians. I think it's very important that our farmers, we stay local and things of that nature. So I think doing more with less is very important, and I'll turn it back over to him.
Yeah, Spencer.
30-second response.
I agree. Vertical farming could be a big thing, but thank you for bringing up the AP English test. Well, I mean, West Virginia right now is pretty okay with their agriculture. Not okay, but they're doing fine enough with the agricultural aspects. So to better push the agriculture, we have to focus on environment first. It's not like we're putting agriculture in the back burner. We just have to, continue.
Question for the Nationalist candidate. The Nationalist Party platform advocates for the broadening of free access to education at the preschool and community college levels. As Commissioner of Agriculture, how can you leverage your resources to create economic opportunity in agriculture and agribusiness?
I think education is something that's very important, and I know with the community college thing, many community colleges offer agricultural programs. They're very nice. Agricultural education has been very important to where I want to go in life, and even my decision to run for Commissioner of Agriculture here. So I feel with higher education could relate back to agribusiness, as people can get 2-year degrees in a lot of different agricultural opportunities, and then use that knowledge that they have learned to then go back into an environmental or agricultural trade to learn, do something like help with vertical farming, like I just previously mentioned, that that could maybe help promote that, or maybe something completely different, like my ethical responsible logging thing, where there's so many different things you can do with agriculture that people really don't truly realize. And I think education would only further help people realize these points and maybe put them on a path to bettering our environment and our agricultural society. Thank you.
And a 3-minute response.
May I ask you to repeat the question real quick?
Absolutely. The Nationalist Party platform advocates for the broadening of free access to education at the preschool and community college levels. As Commissioner of Agriculture, how can you leverage your resources to create economic opportunity in agriculture and agribusiness?
You did bring up some good points. Yeah, there are a lot of education out there that people do not really know about that you could do with agriculture, but you didn't really touch on the resources that you use to give those people that education. Not just, I mean, he did bring up from kindergarten to college, community college. How could you start from kindergarten to community college, and would you only stop at community college, or why not to the state colleges? Why not WVU? Why not Marshall? Thank you.
And 30 seconds.
Yeah, he is true that I didn't really mention our resources. There's many resources we could use. Obviously, we do have to fund some sort of taxpayer money to do this, to have resources to be able to pay for these things. But one of the reasons with the legalization of recreational marijuana, there would be a lot more taxes for that, just as we have taxes for tobacco and alcohol, which could fund these programs and really help us fund these and push them in the right direction that we need to go in order to make them the best.
Thank you, gentlemen. On deck now is Secretary of State. Secretary of State is on deck now. On stage, Treasurer. Our first question to the Federalist Party candidate. The Federalist Party platform highlights the opportunity to advance economic development through a variety of means. How can your office use state fiscal resources to advance job creation to move forward with growing the state's economy?
And that is a great question. As treasurer, our job is to oversee that money and how we can develop our boy state. So with that infrastructure, I look outside, I see all that mud, all that loose gravel, all those potholes. So what we can do, how about we cover that mud with hay, we fill those potholes with some gravel, we clean up the streets a little bit, and in that, I know a lot of people in here are out of jobs. How about we can put them to work, get them some money in the bank, and also help around the community. This will benefit the economy, and of course, using the resources we have around us, and help everyone around. Thank you, that's all I have.
And a 3-minute response.
May I ask you to repeat the question real quick?
Absolutely. The Federalist Party platform highlights the opportunity to advance economic development through a variety of means. How can your office use state fiscal resources to advance job creation to move forward with growing the state's economy?
And as I heard you say, taking the people who are unemployed here at Boise State and putting them to work on the roads, that's only a temporary job. And we don't know exactly how many, well, of course we do, but off the top of our heads right now, we don't know exactly how many people are unemployed in here. So how would we know how fast that will get done? There could be so many unemployed that it'll just get done in a day. What do they do after that? They will be out of a job once again. So I would just like to know, what's the plan after that? How do you plan to help them keep jobs? That's all. Or do I have to use a whole?
Nope.
Okay.
And your response.
So in rebuttal to that, you mentioned how long will this last? And also, how many people are actually unemployed? If you are unemployed, could you please stand up? Jacob? Now that is a large variety of people. And with this restoration of our roads in our community, I think it won't just take one day, though we are here for only 3 or 4 more days. So I think it will last a perfect amount of time.
A question to the Nationalist Party candidate. The Nationalist Party underscores the role of working conditions and benefits to improving the lives of the working class. As treasurer, how will you partner with industry to attract and retain high-quality jobs within the state?
So, my plan is to use the initiative of state-owned enterprises. So, essentially, as I explained before in my speech, state-owned enterprises are an entity of enterprises or companies that are owned and invested in by the government. For example, publicly, I'm sorry, could you repeat the question one more time? I just want to be more specific. Okay, sorry, you saw jobs. It just came to my head. Not jobs, but conditions. Conditions such as the, so say you have state-owned factories. They would continue to work as the factories, whatever they produce, whether that is different types of like building materials and stuff like that. The presence of the government being there make sure that as the government funds that entities workplace, such as giving them money to make repairs or plumbing, water, as we see what is going on here at Mountaineer Boys State with the plumbing. The plumbing is being fixed currently because the pipes are old, so we need to keep conditions up to check. And that's being paid by, pretty sure it's, yeah, this is government owned, yeah. Anyways, so that's my answer to that. Thank you.
3 minutes.
Yes, so in that 2 minutes of you speaking, I gathered some things you said about some state-led factories and how they would better the economy. I think in your response to that question, you were very vague in how exactly that would benefit the economy and how it would help the people of Boise State. In such, I have nothing to say other than, could you please be more specific in the benefits of which you are explaining? Thank you.
And a 30-second response.
So, as a nationalist, our value are the workers. And with the state owning those factories, and make sure that the factories keep everything up to date, and also helps the environment as well, because it keeps the factories in check when they want to release emissions, and keeps a limit on what emissions they are allowed to do in a workday or whatever long period of time.
Thank you, gentlemen. Up next is auditor, and then our final on deck is the office of governor. Our first question to our Federalist candidate for auditor. Transparency is the foundational plank of the Federalist Party platform. More than any other state office, the auditor has the latitude to implement and maintain ways to keep citizens informed about the resource management of state agencies. What specific ways will you deploy to increase government accountability?
All right, so this is how I'm going to increase government accountability. The state auditor's office is going to release all of the tax records and all the records that we believe that everyone needs to see. And that should be all the records. Everything in this government should be known by the people and for the people, because the power is held within the people. And we can release those on a variety of different platforms, such as online. But in smaller communities where
cell service may not be as good, we can also provide it to the local governments there to pass out to their residents. And we will make sure that we hold everybody accountable for the records and all of the stuff that goes on within the government to make sure everyone knows what's going down. That's all.
And your 3-minute response.
I heard you talk about the small communities and how you will send it out to their local governments. But we have a lot of small communities in West Virginia. We have a lot of back roads. We have a lot of small areas. And there's going to be a lot of people in those not a lot of people, there's going to be a lot of small communities with small amounts of people, which will lead up to a large amount of people. And I just want to know, how are you going to be able to fund the printing, and how you're going to be able to fund maybe like mailing, and how you're going to be able to make sure that the mail actually gets there between UPS and our actual postal services. There's always been a lot of unreliability with those, and I just want to know how you're going to make sure that they actually get the news that they're actually getting.
And a 30-second response.
We will fund it by using our new tax reforms that will increase the budget of the West Virginian government. And it is difficult to make sure that all the mail reliably gets there, but we will do everything in our power, such as even going as far as to making our own little, mailing system to make sure everybody gets the records that they deserve.
Thank you. And question for the Nationalist Party candidate. The Nationalist Party platform leans heavily into the rights of workers and those seeking justice. For many, current tax rates feel punitive for those who earn less, as well as those who are in the top income bracket. How can you advocate for and assure the state uses tax resources responsibly to the benefit of all?
I will first make sure that the lower income communities, they get the same amount of state work that the rich communities did. We try to make sure their roads are equal, their public offices are equal. We try to make sure that education is equal, and we're going to be able to do this with the taxes that we receive from them. And we also have a surplus for 2 years in a row. We'll be able to fund better teaching, fund better roads, better public areas that are state owned. So we have had surplus for 2 years. So we have about $200 million that we have not used as a state, and we don't want that to go to waste. So we wanted to make sure it goes back into our communities, back into our low class people, and back into just to make sure everyone gets an equal chance and opportunity at making sure that they can succeed in West Virginia.
And a 3-minute response.
So he made many very good points, but I would just like to ask you a few things. How many lower and smaller sized communities are getting less of an equal treatment than these richer communities with receiving state work? And so I feel that, and if we are in a surplus, can you explain to me why we are not using that money now to benefit our communities? Why would just out of the blue we just start using it now rather than or using it if you get elected, then rather than now while we have it now? That's it.
30-second response.
I know that there are a lot of small communities, and we do have the money to actually be able to help these small communities. And the reason I believe that we're not using this money before is that because I don't think there's enough power. We don't have enough people to agree. I think if I am elected, I will be able to make sure everything's organized, make sure we use the money to go to the right places, and we don't waste it just letting it sit there and losing interest. And because prices are going up and everything.
Good job, Justin. Thank you, gentlemen.
Good job.
And next up to the stage is the candidates for Secretary of State. And our first question question is to the Federalist Party candidate. The Federalist Party wants to see diversification of businesses and industry in the state. As the Chief Business Officer of the state, what will your office do to lead this effort? The Federalist Party wants to see diversification of business and industry in the state. As the Chief Business Officer of the state, what will your office do to lead this effort?
As I stated before, I do have a business background, as I have been. I feel like this isn't about me. One thing that my office would do is talk to everyone. I have actually made it a point. The past couple of days, I've talked to corrections people, I've talked to National Guard people, and I've talked to state police people, and I've said that I want to go around and I want to talk to you. I want to see what you guys do. I want to hear from the people. I want to see what the people want. I believe that to build a great society, you have to have multiple voices involved. That's about all I have for that.
3-minute response.
I think that's some really good points. I appreciate that you're going around and talking to people. My only question is, what specifically are you asking them about? Like, how are you trying to gauge their feelings towards getting businesses more diverse, more economically stable?
And 30-second response.
That is a great question, and what I'm aiming to gain from this is hear from every background. I want to see what we can do to build our economy, how we can better the job creation. As I stated before, job creation in my town and development is a huge problem.
Question for the Nationalist Party candidate. A dedicated plank of the Nationalist Party is to focus on enfranchisement. You seek to lower the voting age to 16 and restore rights to convicted felons. What impacts, both positive and negative, do you see this having on the outcome of elections by increasing the number of voters in the state?
Well, some things that I can say there. First of all, just a statistic that I believe should be publicly known. Voter turnout nationally in the 80s, 90s, around 80% of our people. That's a good amount. Now, voter turnout is only about 50%. So if we're not letting people feel like they have a voice, I feel like, first of all, we're not getting everyone's opinion, so that defeats the point of a democracy. And moving on to the question, first of all, with the voting age. I am a firm believer that the voting age should be basically 16 is where it should start, but that's for the people who have jobs, because those are the people who are being taxed. Taxation without representation is something that our very founding fathers fought vehemently against. Moving on to the incarcerated and ex-incarcerated, I believe, first of all, no matter who you are, I feel like there is a strong argument that you should be able to have a voice. And also I believe that in the rehabilitation process of these people, they need to feel like once they get out, they're not some guy just wandering in a country that doesn't belong to them. They need to feel like it's their country. They need to feel like it's their state. They need to feel like they have a place to belong.
Yeah.
And a 3-minute response.
One thing I will start by saying is that you did make a very good point. I am all for everyone having a voice and everyone being able to vote. But we're all 17. I just turned 17. We're all 17, 18, maybe 16. I do know many 16-year-olds. I know a lot of immature 16-year-olds, even ones with jobs. I believe that if 16-year-olds are allowed to vote, probably would have been the ones to vote for Kanye. I'm just going to say that straight up. Secondly, to focus towards the incarcerated. Will the people in jail, are they kept up with that they're voting for, or do they just see the names and think, you know, oh yeah, I like that name, I'm gonna vote for this guy?
And 30 seconds left.
First of all, immature 16-year-olds, I do agree. You know, these nuts for 2016 president. I believe, however, our minds stop maturing at age 25. So I believe, as immature as they are, I feel like 18, 16, it makes not much of a difference. And for the ex-incarcerated, I believe that during rehabilitation, having them understand the political landscape is a very important thing that we need to work on. And that's it. Thank you.
And next up, candidates for governor. Are we ready?
Yes, sir. Best as we will be.
First question for our Federalist candidate. The Federalist Party platform seeks to implement many changes that could result in an overall tax increase for citizens and business alike. With family budgets tighter than ever, how does your party justify increased government spending and taxation?
Can you repeat the question again, please?
The Federalist Party platform seeks to implement many changes that could result in an overall tax increase for citizens and businesses alike. With family budgets tighter than ever, how does your party justify increased government spending and taxation?
Now, I understand that this is going to be a huge jump, and I understand completely that for many family budgets, it's gonna run your pockets. That's all I gotta say. It's gonna run your pockets. However, I believe it's for a good cause, because those taxes will eventually balance out the jobs and, you know, other places that honestly deserve the money that they honestly are supposed to have, but they do not have. And I think at some point in the long term, it's going to balance out, and we'll be able to all, hopefully, live a happy life with the money or the budget that we can get at the time. So
3 minutes.
So you say that in the long term this will work out, but unfortunately with those tight family budgets, a lot of people don't have the time to wait for the long term. They need money now, and they might not be able to deal with the increase of taxes right now. Because I mean, it's good to have a plan for later, but if you can't get through now, then what's the point? And luckily, the nationalist platform brings up a great point, in that the legalization of recreational marijuana will create an entire new industry in which tax funds can be collected from to pay for our additional plans. And also, our plans to bring new industries to the state of West Virginia will bring more revenue, which in turn increases the government's amount of money to pay for its plans.
30 seconds.
Okay, I completely agree with the marijuana stance. Yes, extra tax for the marijuana and recreational smokers should be viable, especially since we have them all throughout West Virginia. However, in addition to that, I think for the economy, for the Federalists, our stance is to lower income industry and corporate taxation by raising the sales tax in the short term, and in the long term, use jobs that are created for the new clean energy.
Next question to the Nationalist candidate. The Nationalist Party platform identifies and differentiates itself by being the party for workers, justice seekers, learners, and those who want a voice in government. While these are all lofty ideals, ideas don't pay bills. What policies proposed by the Nationalist Party will deliver change and growth for the state?
Well, hold on, let me remove this microphone real fast. As you guys know, the cornerstone of West Virginia's economy for the past like 100 years or so has been coal mining. And I know that many of the people in here have family, friends, all that have been involved in coal mines, probably your grandparents, parents that were involved in that. Unfortunately, that industry is on the decline, and we know that we can't abandon those people. Unfortunately, like a lot of times machines recently can do the work of like 50 to 100 people, what they were used to be able to do. And so fortunately, we are planning on becoming a leader in industry stability for the future. So instead of just relying on coal mines entirely, we will also be relying on new forms of power like nuclear, wind, things like that, in which people who may have lost jobs can then go in and will have first priority to regain those jobs back in new power sectors.
3-minute response.
All right, so with that out of the way, I want to bring up one of my points that I made when I came up here and did my sweet little speech. So for businesses, I wanted more entrepreneurship, homegrown in the state of West Virginia, and for businesses that already are from the state of West Virginia to grow in size. Hopefully, with more taxation and maybe some levies if we need to, we can get them the money they deserve in order to grow those businesses greatly. In addition to that, I will also agree with you when you said on your statement on maybe the coal mining system. Along with that, though, they will not go away if you bring in green energy systems. In fact, we probably have some in West Virginia right now. All that we're doing is evening out the playing field in order for both sides to have equal jobs and equal opportunity.
30-second response.
I never stated that we would be phasing out any sort of coal mining immediately because that's not viable. We have people who have jobs in those areas and we can't get rid of them. We just need to be able to prepare for our future where coal might not be viable, so we need to prepare for that while also still maintaining people who have jobs right now.
Yeah. Our next question for the Federalist candidate. Transparency, economic policy, education, and in the environment are all a role in the Federalist Party's plan to move the state forward. Coincidentally, the Nationalist Party seeks many of the same goals. How do the Federalist Party plans vary or differ from the Nationalist Party plans?
Well, that's quite simple. It's the way that we both approach it. For the Federalist Party, and I bet you they can agree with me with my points, my point is a domino effect. If we go for the educational system first, where we get ourselves more teachers, that would give us, in turn, more students and more young men and women to sustain themselves at their jobs and be able to be super qualified in order to maybe get a little bit more money, maybe get a bonus, right? So, in turn, when it comes to businesses, better people for business equals better business. It's simple as that. And when it comes to that, it will also influence more people to come into West Virginia, which equals more money, more population, and hereby a better state.
Yeah. 3-minute response.
And those things are all great. Sorry, y'all. Those things are all great, but they aren't really differentiating themselves from a lot of the things that we have. And a lot of the things that we have that differentiate ourselves from the Federalist Party is that I think we have a better plan in terms of generating money and actually like being able to sustain that money for the future. So I just kind of want to ask you, like, in addition to that, what kind of like actually differentiates your party from what we have going on in terms of benefits?
30-second response.
In terms of benefits, I believe in the long run, especially and also in the short run, it will include more money and more revenue for the places that I'm going to target. As well as in addition, let me sweeten the deal for you. I'm going to introduce new job opportunities. For the lemonade stand, I'm also adding in an additional, promise, it may not happen, hot dog stand, nacho stand, donut stand or ice cream stand if possible, and I'm going to merge that with the lemonade stand to include a food court.
Next question. We hear it underscored time and time and time and time and time again that we are currently in a state with a divided nation. You and your opponent share many of the same policy goals, making the opportunity to work together and reach compromise quite simple. Leadership approach and unity will be a primary focus after the election this afternoon. How will the Nationalist Party seek to unify the mission for all of Boise State and move forward together?
Oh, I actually think this is a great thing, and I think that I personally addressed this in my speech in that today, obviously, we've seen a little bit of division. We've been cheering for one side, we've been cheering for the other side, but I did make it a point to try to see the other side and reach out that olive branch, as I mentioned. In terms of unity, after this, yes, well, we will all have our parties, but we will be individual members of the legislature or whatever other body we're a part of. And with that, we should be able to work with whoever we want. We can definitely vote unity because, as Lee said, these platforms are very similar. And with that, that should bring a lot of unity to this camp.
And the Federalist response.
I agree the same way when it comes to the situation of are we going to be okay with what we're working for? And that also involves with transparency, honesty, and integrity. And I will be honest with you, I do not care who I work for or work with. Blue, red, doesn't matter. Right here, I am purple. In fact, I may not even have a color because I agree with both sides and I want both sides to come to me and help me work this out. All right?
Nationalist response.
Yes, I think it's good to take the idea that we don't have a color, that we are purple, but I'm still going to support the policies that we stood for as the nationalist candidates because that's what I ran on, that's what you guys are voting on, and I don't want to abandon that before the election. I can't just say, oh, I won't support this, won't support that, whenever that's actually the platform that we all voted for as a party, and that you guys will be voting for whenever you do the elections. So, in that case, I will be standing for what I stand for, but also I'm willing to work with anybody who is elected.
Federalist Party question. Recent education laws passed in West Virginia seek to provide school choice through the public funding of private and charter schools. Determining the cost of these changes can be very difficult. Your party's education policy seeks betterment of the public education system. What will the Federalist Party do to change, enhance, or eliminate the public funding of private and charter schools?
All right, for the my bad. I'm sorry, let me start over. For the funding of these schools, yes, I totally agree we need to lower the funding. And I will get that lowered by any means possible, through taxes, through levies, all of that. However, even with that statement, there are also other jobs that also require this as well, that also aligns with the educational system, such as businesses, such as other workforces that involve themselves with the educational system, and they need equal say as well. So what of it?
3-minute response.
Personally, I am in support of the existence of private schools. I'm sure that many of you guys go to private schools, but I think it's important that private school remains a decision that you make and that you have to take on the consequence of going to private school, which is the tuition. I don't think the government should be paying tuition for people to go to private schools or giving that money to private schools whenever there are public schools. You guys have public schools, which are oftentimes falling apart. My school, it's probably 80 years old. It's barely working. We're overcrowded. We need a bigger school. And there's no reason that schools that are already getting tuition should be getting money from the government than the schools that actually rely on the government for their money. So I think that is a very unfortunate policy that definitely needs to change.
30-second response.
Okay, what I believe in, especially when I said for my speech, is equal choice, equal share. Yes, it is unfortunate that, yes, maybe some places should not get the money in order to keep their stuff free. However, the choices are free themselves. And I believe that with that, you should have free choice to go wherever you want in the state of West Virginia, no matter if it's a private school, no matter if it's a public school, and with that, not pay for anything.
Nationalist Party question. The Nationalist Party brands itself as the party of the working people. Your generation of students has had your education disrupted by 2 years of consecutive teacher strikes. The rights of workers to unionize is a federal law. As the Workers' Party, how will you ensure the state remains steadfast in protecting the rights of teachers and other union workers to organize?
Oh, and as the Workers' Party, we are 100% a pro-union party. We will be behind workers if they are fighting against corporations that may be oppressing them, may not be giving them the money they deserve. As they said, we do want to give a slight raise to the minimum wage because currently, if you calculate it out, the minimum wage does not supply enough money for somebody to actually meet the cost of living here, which is really unfortunate. I don't think anybody who really works full-time shouldn't be able to live here, and that is unfortunate, and that's how we are going to support our workers.
3-minute response.
Hey, repeat the question again, please.
The Nationalist Party brands itself as the party of the working people. Your generation of students has had your education disrupted by 2 years of consecutive teacher strikes. The rights of workers to unionize is a federal law. As the Workers' Party, how will you ensure the state remains steadfast in protecting the rights of teachers and other union workers?
It's simple. I fully agree with their decision to go on strike, especially back then. It was a hard time, and it quite literally needed it. However, especially with that very, very, very powerful strike, I believe that even so, they might have to indeed deal with the consequences of it as well. So, in that said, I fully agree with your decision. I fully agree with your party's decision, and hopefully we can work a compromise in order to even it out from both sides.
30-second response.
Yes, in terms of the teachers, I do think it was an okay decision for them to go on strike. Yes, it did disrupt our schedule as students, but it is important that we pay our teachers because they are the people that are creating the men of tomorrow, as I like to say here. And that is a very important thing. And without high-quality teachers, we can't create those men of tomorrow. So I appreciate our teachers.
That concludes the question portion of the debate. At this time, each candidate will have 2 minutes to make a final statement to win your vote. We will start with the Federalist candidate. 2 minutes to make your case.
Well, what else I can say? Even if they are unsavory and unsatisfactory, they are the things that we may have to do in order to make West Virginia great, especially in the long run. Along with that, all I can say is, if my stuff is super unsatisfactory to you, you are completely welcome to vote for this guy. However, if you were like me and you can deal with certain setbacks, especially I had to deal with multiple setbacks in my personal life in order to get where I am today, which is the candidate for your governor. And for all of that, that's all I have to say. Please vote for me.
Your 2-minute final statement.
I can go now? Yep. Okay. To my Nationalist Party, I thank you guys so much for supporting me. I really appreciate everything that you guys have done.
We love you,
Sammy.
We love you, Sammy.
We appreciate it, guys. Thank you. To my friends over here in the Federalist Party, I know that we have been divided, but at the end of this, win or loss, whether I win, whether Josiah wins, we need to create unity here. And that's the only way that our government's going to be able to function. Whenever we all gather down on Thursday, we don't want to make a mess of ourselves. We don't want to be like some of the real-life politicians we see out there who all they do is bicker and fight. We want to be able to create and discuss ideas peacefully and pragmatically, and that's what I want to bring. We don't need super radical ideas on either side going head-to-head back at each other. We need to be able to look each other in the eyes, shake each other's hand, which is I've been seeing a ton of here, which is awesome, and learn to agree to disagree and reach a compromise. As
I forget which president said it. If you get 80% of what you want done, that is a huge success, and that's what I believe. So please choose to vote Sammy D to be your governor.
Yeah!